Fellow nerds, we are talking Invincible, Season 2, Episode 3, This Missive, This Machination, also known as Alan the Alien.
Alan
Mhm.
the Alien, Seth Rogen. No voice disguising there. I mean, it wouldn't matter. That's Seth Rogen as Seth Rogen.
I was a little thrown off when the end credits came up halfway through the episode,
Yeah.
and I'm
Right.
like, wait, is it? Oh, okay.
I clicked the button. I'm like, wait, what? That was a short episode. I'm like, oh no, there's still a lot left. I'm like, oh, that was
It's like
weird.
half the show's left. What's going on?
But once again, this season has been doing, continuing the story from season one. A lot of this. It was good to get Alan's backstory and find out about
Yep.
his planet being attacked by the Viltrumites and how they persevered and joined the coalition. We even had the whole backstory on how Alan became, Super Alan or Alan the Invincible. Maybe not Alan the Invincible, but it even
nope, not quite.
even set up a nice, when he was telling the council that, hey, there's a half Viltrumite on Earth. He's, basically on our side. And they were kind of doubting him. They're like, one, Viltrumite would never do that. And two, the actual Viltrumite left his post? No way.
They
No
don't
way.
do that either.
Yeah. So, and then all of a sudden, Thaddeus, I think his name was Thaddeus, the like chief dude of the council,
Oh yeah.
was kind of like, hey, I think we have a mole on this council. I need you to kind of, find out what you
Were
can.
you two thinking the minute they introduced that council? Were you guys thinking the same thing as me? Like the minute I saw them, like, oh, can't trust that dude. He looks like he's up to something.
The one in charge is the one you
Yeah.
can't trust. The one who seems like he's on your side.
Well,
is the one
he
you cannot
looked
trust.
he looked like he was up to something. I'm like at first I'm like, is he like a spy for Viltrum or something? I'm like, what is this guy's deal? I don't trust him.
I trusted
right.
him fully. I was like, he is going to help save the day. Yay!
Until pull the plug.
Man, you got to give Alan credit, though. He was taking a beating. He refused to say a word. He was.
Well, he knew it was over. He knew that moment before the fight even started. And if he had to die, he wouldn't have given him anything. That's why I like him.
So you know what I find interesting about this, and I am jumping towards the end of the Ellen portion. I know we never do that. We never jump to the end.
We always follow the flow of the story. We
Yeah.
never jump around.
But I do wonder about something that I was curious about in this episode, and that was the fact that, so besides the fact that, the Viltrumites obviously knew all about the council and knew where they are located because of what's his name in there tipping them off, letting them know. Why have they allowed the council to continue existing? Like, that doesn't seem like something that Viltrum would do.
I think
Usually
they-
they're. Go ahead.
I think they do it to kind of give people false hope.
Yeah.
Like, you can go there and, you guys might beat us. You guys might win. Yada, yada, yada. But in reality, they've been keeping tabs on them. They know all about them. And they could end them at any time. But if you end them, then, all these planets are going to maybe team up. Like, if you destroy that council, I think word gets out, and then you're going to be facing an entire galaxy against you as opposed planet by planet. It gives them, like, some false hope that there's a where to go, place to go, or people that can help, when honestly, they're not going to help at all.
It could be. The reason why I was curious is, they could be doing something different in the show, from the comics. But in the comics, the story they give in the first season where they explain how Viltrum became what it is now, where they kept fighting and weeding out the weak and everything like that. Well, it's the same. It's the same background in the comics, but they skipped a step in the show. In the comics, not only did they weed out the weak, but they accidentally were weeding out some of the more intelligent of their species until they were basically just a bunch of dumb brutes. and their only goal was to go to planet, repopulate, destroy. That was it.
I like
And
this way
so
better.
that's why I thought it was odd that, again, unless they're doing something different in the show, I thought it was odd that they would allow the council to exist, because the Viltrums in the comics wouldn't have thought that far ahead. Their only thought process would have been, I see opposition, must destroy.
Sounds like a Zorpazorp.
Yeah, that is it, minus the female leaders.
Yeah, they just blew themselves back into the Stone Age, and that's all they do is fight.
Well, yes and no. So that was the one thing that they still had going for them, thankfully, is on Viltrum, the infrastructure that was there from when they actually had scientists and smart people was still there. They may not have known how to like maintain it, but it was still there. And then it was just a bunch of, knuckle dragging psychopaths. But yeah, so they still had, like starships and everything like that, and they know how to do that stuff.
Don't they just fly through space?
Yeah, I think they mostly just do fly through space, but like they had technology. They just I don't think they knew how to advance it any further.
When they were walking up at the end, and as soon as he announced them and they didn't show up, of course that's his dad. But I think it wasn't that obvious though.
Not at first, no. So I thought that there was something going on with that alien dude, but I did not expect the ending to go the way that it did. That threw me off. That was a legitimate, and the reason why it stuck out so much is in our last stream when we were talking about episode 2, we all kind of noted that it was fine, but it was mostly just kind of catching us up with each one of the characters. Like we got to figure out what had been going on with Adam Eve. We found out a little bit what was going on with Mark and with his best friend, and we also spent some time with the Guardians of the Globe and everything like that. So we were sort of getting caught up to where everybody was in the story, and it didn't really do much other than just sort of let us know what was going on with each of the characters. And we noticed that it was lacking, that twist. We were waiting for that jaw-dropping twist, and I think this episode made up for it.
No, it definitely did, because I was like you. First off, Rob Delaney from Deadpool 2 was the voice of that alien, and I thought he did a great job. And even his buddy coming up being like, "You got to save him if you have the chance." And the whole time I'm like, this is a trap, or it's the council, people from the council wanting to be away from the spy, basically interviewing him or meeting him to see what he's really like. I did not expect his dad at all. When he's walking up, I thought for sure it was going to be Alan the alien's girlfriend, like coming to talk to him and be like, "Hey, we heard good things about you, and we just needed to check you out. Sorry for the lie or whatever." When it was his dad, I was like, "Oh." I knew it was. I thought it ended a half hour ago, and I know it's ending now. Darn it! Darn it! Darn it! Darn it!
And that just shows his inexperience because like Cecil saw it from a mile away. Don't do it, man. Some alien you don't even know shows up with some sob story, and you're out the door. So that just shows he needs to.
He needs to trust Cecil a little bit more.
Yeah, he was easily swept away by the prospect of saving lives.
Well, he's still got that, hanging over his head where he doesn't want to be like his dad. He actually wants to legitimately help people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I find it a little funny that the entire time that Omni-Man was on Earth, he probably did help some folks, but like when you see like what he was actually doing, it's more like he was just kind of keeping them safe until he could take over.
Yeah, that was
winning their trust.
Yeah, that's how you infiltrate. And that his mom. Oh, by the way, there was no Invincible moment in this show. Was it just the moment for Alan that took that took its place?
Yeah,
that was kind of funny. But anyway, his mom getting thrown out of that support group, or well, not officially, but
I kind of
it's
figured
not
that
her
was going to
fault,
happen.
man.
When he said the name, I was like, oh man. I was like, are they going to drag this out over a few episodes? And dragged is a bad word. Are they going to let this play out over a few episodes until she finally admits that she was married to Omni Man? And it was definitely the reaction I expected from him when she finally admitted. I was like, oh man,
Same.
this poor lady can't get the support she needs, you know, agree with what she's going through. And I like that she made that point. You know, it's hard for me to let go because he's not dead. He's still out there. I don't know what's going on, which should have been our first clue that he was showing up at the end. But went right over my head. I was like, oh, that poor lady. She can't catch a break. Mark, go save those bugs. Save those bugs. Where's all the meteorites? Oh, don't worry about that.
What meteorites? What are you talking about? There's a lot of depth in this show to the characters. I mean, they're taking it kind of slow paced and explaining everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're going in depth on the, you know, the sex they were having. You know, they're showing the intimate sides of these relationships, and you know, they're getting kind of deep. It's not just your regular animated feature. You know.
Oh yeah. That was funny. No, let's check back in with my. Oh no! I guess not. Okay, we'll come back.
You're not going to crush me or anything. I thought for sure you'd be like, you know, my dad was a Viltrumite too, and he didn't destroy physically destroy my mom. We won't talk about.
We'll talk about emotionally.
And I won't make any crass jokes. Damn right, I'm going to destroy it.
I won't beat that up.
No. Oh God, yeah. I guess it's this isn't quite like a Luke Cage moment where he needs someone as strong as Jessica Jones.
I did laugh too when his roommate was like, "You think I could hook up with that guy?" Oh, I just left a sock on the door from when I showed you. Nothing was going on or whatever. I was like, "Oh man."
That is not where I expected the show to go, but that was cool.
Yeah,
It shows that it's definitely an adult feature as well. It's not for kids.
neither was the comic.
Yeah, but I mean, he got to college pretty quick. I was kind of like, I really thought this entire season was going to take place over the summer, you know, prior to him to getting to college. But even, you know, they're kind of taking it slow, letting things develop, and they're letting time sort of go by at a reasonable pace. You know, was working with Cecil. He's getting some training under his belt. They're not rushing it, you know, to get to the end. And I like the way they're doing it. I think they do a great job of letting everything run its due course, and don't try to, don't try to Dark Phoenix it. Don't try to rush it into one movie. They're doing a really good job of letting the story play itself out.
Yeah, not rushing it, not sweeping it under the rug either. They're paying it the right amount of attention. I haven't had a problem with the pacing at all.
I wonder if the writers and storyboard artists, I wonder if they're going over the comic books like Scott Pilgrim with his email and like blah blah blah, summer break, blah blah, got a job. Boring. Put him in college.
Yeah. Oh, boring.
This is boring. Delete.
Didn't you read my letter?
What, the 7 Eagle X's? You didn't get it yet.
I delivered it in a snowstorm.
Tangent time. That's what we're good at, folks.
We really do. But, I mean, I'm looking forward to next week. I don't know if you guys saw the Invincible
You mean this
Twitter
week?
handle. Yeah, that's what I meant, this week. But the Invincible Twitter said, this is all we can show you from Friday's episode. It's basically Omni-Man and Invincible kind of talking for a second. It's like, oh, come on, let it be Friday. I'm going to be in a food coma by the time this comes out. I need to pace myself.
I'm really curious what they're going to be doing with this, because I was already kind of surprised that in the show that they've already introduced what's his name, the brain dude.
Oh, Angstrom.
Yeah, yeah. I'm surprised that they already introduced Angstrom because in the comics, the main bad guy, like right away in the next couple of issues, like where this would be taking place, is Omni Man. But so far they're telling the story a little bit different. That's why um I am pleasantly surprised because they're doing things a bit different from the comics, which sometimes is a good thing, you know. It's not the same exact story. You can tell that they are seeing what worked, what didn't, and taking the opportunity to kind of do things a little bit different. So, nor what would have happened is, you know, where this, if they are going to talk things over, this would not have taken place in the comics until years later, many years later. So,
But you
brief,
know,
real brief spoiler. So, spoiler warning: if you have not read the comics, where this would have taken place, you know, if they were following that story, would be well into Mark's adulthood, and at this point, he's taking care of his mother, and he's already married. And so his wife and his mother are kind of hanging out, you know, making lunch, and him and his dad are having an arm wrestling competition while talking things over and kind of you know, discussing whether they can get along again.
They can't.
And then they destroy half the city having an
and
arm wrestling competition.
unless his dad has a change of heart and doesn't want to be a Viltrumite anymore, realizes that
Mm-hmm.
family is important. He has a son who obviously, as much as he wanted
And
him to follow in his footsteps, he sees that these people, Earthlings, aren't necessarily just to be conquered. He lived amongst
that
them for a while, and
that's also something different that they're doing in the show. We saw hints of that in the Adam Eve special, which is not really the sort of development that route that they went with in the comics. So in the comics, they do show that he has some minor changes, but it wasn't anywhere as deep as what I think they've actually already shown. So if you guys remember that Adam Eve special, and if you don't, go back and watch the Not Your Status Quo breakdown and review of it. We did a pretty good job showing, you know, what went on, pulling out some Easter eggs, talking about it and everything. But yeah, the way that it ended was with, you know, young Mark, and he's running around with like duct tape and everything wrapped around him like a doofus. And Omni Man flies back in, and you can see just this flash of anger because he's so disappointed that his son hasn't developed superpowers yet. Because I believe his entire plan as a Viltrumite was come to Earth, have a kid, and as soon as the kid has superpowers, we're wiping out the planet. And I think he was very disappointed that his son didn't have powers yet. But he also showed that side of him where he was still a father. And you could tell that he had developed some feelings for Mark. And so, like, even though he had that flash of anger, he was looking at the picture of his son. And he's like, no. And then he calmed down. And I thought that was really cool. Like, they didn't even really need words. They just had expressions. And you can tell that they're doing that in this series. And it's the same thing like why he flew away. He didn't kill Mark at the end of season 1.
I think I think that I like that. If this is the route they're going, I like the fact that
Mm-hmm.
he got married. He may have thought of her as a pet, but I
Yeah.
think he does realize he did love her, and obviously, just because he's Superman doesn't mean he has to conquer everybody. I think he may be kind of thinking this through and being like, what, I made a mistake. I do actually care. My son wants to protect this planet. I think maybe I have to, and maybe he's gathering an army with whatever planet he was on.
The Bug Planet.
Ferax,
The
I think it
bugs.
was. Yeah, the bugs. But maybe he's going to use them to help fight the Viltrumites or something. Maybe he's going to become an ally, even though it'll be someone very difficult to trust. You know, until a couple seasons down the line. But I think he could become an
Mm-hmm.
ally against the Viltrumites.
I think you are being way too positive, sir. I think,
You reeling that in, Dave?
yeah, I'm gonna reel that in. Yeah, he's there to get him to try to convince him to go back to Earth with him and, um, rule it. That's what he's there for. He's not gonna have a change of heart. He's had how old? I don't know how old he's supposed to be, but his entire life has been as a Viltrumite and subscribed to all their their ways, and so he's not going to drop it. It's been his whole life. Even though he loves his son, he wants his son to be on board with it, but he's not going to change his main objective.
Do you think his new main objective is the planet he's on now?
No, I think they've already gotten that planet. And
I think it's just him.
he's
It
going to
didn't
go
seem
back
like-
to his. Well, he's going to go back to his post. Go ahead.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Do you think? I mean, I don't think the Viltrumites have destroyed that planet yet. They just seem to like
No.
cow down to Omni Man as their leader, and that's why I think he's off. You know, he's done things that no other Viltrumite has done. Left his post, had a son, and now he's on another planet.
I don't think
ruling
Viltrum
it.
knows where he's at, because they were beating up Alan to try and find out.
Yeah, why wouldn't they just ask him? Because he would know. You're right.
Yeah, he left his post, and that's all Viltrum knows. I don't think they know where he's at. I don't think they have a way of like tracking him or anything either.
Well, they did, but they killed all their scientists.
Right?
How do you run this machine?
It's not working. Oh, nope.
Oh, now it's in pieces. Someone fix.
He's somewhere.
He is in the galaxy.
This red dot is not moving.
Which galaxy? Wait, there's more than one? Yeah, I'm really enjoying this series, and I cannot wait for this week. I'm willing to sit there with my turkey coma and attempt to watch it.
Yeah, I'm hoping to watch it Thursday night, but I got a bad feeling it'll be Friday morning, and I'll be like, oh, I better wake up before the kids.
Right. You guys gonna watch the Lions on Thanksgiving?
The
Of
loins?
course. You don't bring them up. They beat the Bears
I saw.
yesterday.
Well, I mean, the Bears lost that game more than the Lions won it.
Well, I was going to say, we'll go into tangent time for this since everyone loves football. It was the first time in NFL history that a team that had time of possession over 40 minutes and had 4 turnovers lost a game.
Yep, they're so bad. They're so bad.
I was watching it, and I kind of turned it on towards the end, and I was a little surprised because okay, I will fully admit I don't know that much about football. I know, huge surprise, right? So
What?
I didn't even know. I don't know what each thing, like how many points that it's worth. And so when they were like real close to the end zone, and I'm sitting there thinking like, oh man, I wonder if that's going to like tie them up, like getting a touchdown. Like, what is that going to do for them? And then when they got 6 points, I was like, oh well, shit, okay, I guess that's it, and they've won by 1 point, and then they kept going. I was like, oh, well, all right.
4 minutes.
Right? I'm like, I did not know that you could not only win, but then win by quite a bit, that much that you could thoroughly trounce your opponent in just a few minutes left.
At the point when there was 4 minutes and 15 seconds left, the Bears had a 98.8% chance of winning that game.
That's a 12-point lead. But their coaches are a bunch of idiots, and that's why they lost.
I was going to say that when it was like early in the season, the Spartans were up like 24-10 going into the fourth quarter and ended up losing the game. And that's not on the players, that's on the coaches. And,
Yes.
players, play, but when they're not, prepared for the game and you're not telling them what's coming up or what to expect, sometimes it can go awry. And that's always on the coaches. And unfortunately,
bad plays. You call them bad play. You call 2 runs up the middle where they got 9 people in the box. And then they call 2 timeouts. I mean, and then that play where he threw the deep pass. Did you see it, Keith?
the way where he dropped it.
Where, yeah, if he would have just kept running, he would have caught it in stride, but he stopped for a second and that blew it. You morons. You just don't know what you're doing.
This is one of those things where, mean, I'm sure at the end of the season, fire their coaches.
Should have fired him today.
Well, they probably should have, but you know, the thing is, then they're gonna have a whole new coaching staff. So all the young players are learning another new system. You know, it just compounds on the issues they have because
I
you
mean,
can't develop
look at
players
Vegas.
when they're you
They
can't-
fired their coach. They're 2-1 since.
Yep.
You know, and at least it would send a message that you're not going to put up with that kind of crap. Even if you hire some, you know, like fill-ins for the rest of the year and they don't do anything, you sent the message already that you're not going to put up with less than mediocrity.
Yep.
But no, they won't do that. Right, Doug?
That I don't know. Couldn't tell you. I don't know what makes for a good football coach and what does not.
Well, for bad, look at Chicago. Anything you think that you would do right, no, they do wrong there. So that's the opposite of what you would need. Yes.
Well, how does that even like? Isn't there some sort of like interview process where they actually discuss like what the plans are, what the coaching style is?
They do. They do that at the interview. It just turns out that his strategy is not a viable strategy. That's to put it mildly.
Well, I think when the GM came on board in 2021, he was like, "We're gonna take over the North and never give it back."
Right. They're 0-9 in the North since.
Yes.
0-9.
Wow,
Ridiculous.
that sounds like the Lions in 2008, 2009. That's 2008, I think. They won 0 games in the entire season.
They were 0-16.
Yep.
That was funny is in the preseason they were 4-0 that year.
Yep.
Undefeated.
And you know who the Lions play this Thursday, Doug, right?
No, who?
Green Bay Packers.
Oh
team.
God.
Oh
Wow.
yeah,
Okay,
bring it on.
And
Another L, Keith. Sorry.
No, I know. No, I enjoyed them beating the Chargers on Sunday, but they're not going to beat the Lions unless the Lions come out and look totally awful. Lions shouldn't have any issues, but I was laughing because Tessie wanted to go to Chicago for Thanksgiving, and they're all Lions fans. So I was like, "Oh, we already told my brother we were coming over, so we can't." At least my brother will be a Packer fan when I go over to his house. It's probably going to be ugly.
Either that or you'll have a game just like they had against the Bears, and the last 4 minutes will rip your heart out.
God, I hope not.
Yeah.
Well,
But
anything?
we can go out of tangent time again.
We're still in tangent
about it?
time. We never got out of it. Just when I think we're out, you pull me back in.
this was my gift to you, gentlemen. You're welcome.
Thank you,
Thanks.
sir. Felt good.
Yeah.
We got to moan about our teams. Well, his team actually won.
It was good stuff. I loved every minute of it. Nice offense, defense at the right time. All good stuff.
Kind of like Invincible.
Yes.
Back to Invincible. I
A
don't
little
know
bit of
what to
offense,
say.
a little bit of defense. Huge
Listen-
twist right at the end. Not
Listen
where
to
we thought he was going
Cecil.
to go.
Don't just fly out to meet somebody you've never met before. Listen to Cecil. That's a good lesson.
Did you guys catch what that bug dude said to Invincible, like as he was picking him up? Well, he made a comment and he said, "It took most of my life just to get here."
Oh yeah, yeah.
That tells me
It
that
took
all of
6 days to get
these
back.
bug species, they've got a very short lifespan. So it's very possible that Omni-Man could have conquered that planet, several generations of bug people ago, and has since then kind of like eased up on being a murderous psychopath. And so maybe now they only know him as their like God King or whatever.
Yeah. They see him like the Ewok C3PO.
Yeah.
like if their lifespan is so short and he's been there for the entire time, so they just think he's immortal. Just
Yeah.
like dogs think humans are immortals because you're there when they're born, you're there 16 years later when they die, and their kids grow up, you're still there. They think
Yeah.
you're immortal,
You know what
so they
dogs
think
think?
you're immortal. What's that?
You know what dogs think?
Well,
I do. I can speak to dogs.
The
Dave
dog
Dave
whisperer.
hasn't told you this yet, Keith, but he's actually a reincarnated dog.
Oh, nice.
No, I'm not reincarnated.
Oh, you're a dog possessing a human body.
Yeah, I'm a scroll, pretending to be a
A
dog,
throg?
pretending to be a man. I'm a dude playing the dude. How's that saying go? Dang it. I'm a dude playing the dude disguised as another dude. That's me.
Thank you, Robert Downey Jr. But maybe we should rate this episode on a scale of 1 to 10, on the Doug scale, with 5 being average. Doug, what do you think, sir?
I am very much willing to give this an 8. I think it was back to form. It was really good. I enjoyed it. It did not go in the same directions that I thought it would. Was it perfect? No. But, very rarely are you going to find something that is absolutely perfect. But I don't have a drink. Sorry, I would join you, but I am fresh out.
Well, apparently Loki was.
Loki, I think, was oh my gosh, especially that final episode. That was perfection. And it could be that because we've done a lot of, moving the pieces, a lot of character development for Invincible season 2. It could very well be that this is going to turn out to be absolute perfection. That it's going to be, the best of the best, creme de la creme.
You didn't throw the Lee on there. You just said absolute.
I did.
You didn't say absolutely. But
So just take a
I'm
sip.
gonna drink anyway.
But I think this was really good. I think it's worth an 8. It totally threw me when they were doing the whole Elle and the alien section. And then when we finally met back up with Mark and doing the whole college thing, and we thought it was going to be this fun little jaunt and we're having a good time. And then all of a sudden, that twist ending. That's wow. That reminded me of episode 1 of the first season.
It was that big a twist for you at the end?
For me, yeah. I did not think it was going to be Omni-Man showing up. I didn't expect that. I knew there was something going on with the bug people. I knew that, he wasn't being truthful about why he was bringing Mark there, but I didn't expect it to be Omni-Man.
All right. Well, for reasons discussed in your little monologue there, I was going to give it a 6.5, but you talked me up to a 7.
All right.
Yeah, I wasn't as shocked as you were at the end there, but I had a feeling it was going to be him when they said, Supreme Leader or whatever they called him. I can't remember. Come on out or what, he's here. I'm like, oh my God, that's going to be his dad. But overall, the rest of the show, nothing really stood out to wow me. The sex part was funny. I really liked the Alan the alien part. That was really cool.
Until it wasn't.
Until he's got his intestines all over all the cosmos. But overall, yeah, I'll give it a 7.
All right.
See, I'm definitely more with Doug on this. I love that they took it at a different angle, and I thought they disguised what was going to be going on that planet very well, because we heard about the mole within the council. So I thought for sure that it was going to be someone working outside the council, because they were worried about the spies, to really, find out what Mark, who Mark was and what his plans were. And I was, when Omni-Man walked out, I was like, oh wow. But they also kind of set that up too, with the mom going, I don't have closure yet because he's not dead. So they really did a good job of setting up a couple different paths that could come true. And then, having the one that they did. I'm looking forward to this week's episode. The episode really did everything that you expect. Kept me interested the whole time. It's pushing the story forward. And, we got some gruesome fight scenes as we're coming to expect out of the show. So, I think we're getting back to normal. I'm going to give it an 8.2 because I was very entertained by it. And I think they're doing a great job at really setting things up, not only for the now, but for the later also. And I can't wait to see the rest of the season.
I want to know what kept you from making it an 8.3.
Well, there was one part when he pulled the cord when he was killing Alan that he pulled all of them at once instead of just pulling the power cord. And I was like, oh, you could have had an 8.3, but you blew it.
I love it. I love it. Man, they really messed up there.
That's such a petty reason. Hey, fellow nerds, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more of this stuff, make sure that you check out our Twitch stream. We try to do these live Sunday or Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Keep an eye on our social media to find out when you can join in live and chat with us during these live streams. Also, as usual, don't forget to check out our other social media. Add us at Twitter, comment down below, and we'll see you next time right here on Not Your Status Quo.